Hello and welcome back to the series on how to program in C#. So I'm very sorry because it has been way too long since the last episode. But anyway, we're back to it. So today we're doing classes, which is very, very special because it really is the heart of object-oriented programming. And well, C# is one of the most famous object-oriented languages. Now, you probably have no idea what that is, because classes are a bit more of a complicated topic, but that's fine, because I'm going to attempt to explain it as thoroughly and as simply as possible. So anyway, let's just get to it. So, let's say you want to store a piece of information. Okay, so you can create an object of type int if you wanted a numerical value, for example, or if you wanted a piece of text, you could create an object of type string, or if you wanted a true-false value, then create an object of type boolean. We all know that. We all know about creating objects and their different types, because that's what we did in the very first episode. And so these are all objects. But what if you wanted to create a more complex type of object that had, not just one simple numerical value as its value? What if you wanted to have a more complex type of object that had, it had both a numerical value and a textual value, and another numerical value as well. And this type of object had all of those different values. So I'll give you an example. Let's say we have a person. Well, a person, you can't just express a person by just a simple, numerical value or a simple number. A person's going to have a name, which might be a string. It's also going to have an age attached to it, which is an int. It's also maybe a favourite food, which is a string. And there's loads of different qualities that you could give to that person. But we want to be able to create it all in one single object. So you can create one person with some different values and then create a different person with completely different values. But they're still all in the same format. So basically, classes can be created just as objects, just like any other variable type. So just how you'd create a variable age, which is of type int. If we had a class called person, then we could create a variable called man of type person, and then it would have all these different values attached to it. So classes can store a range of complex information instead of just a basic value. So anyway, that's all very well. Let's actually get into the code. So, last time we did for loops. I'm just going to get rid of everything inside the main function, but please do keep the main function, because that is where we will create our object. But you'll see we've got a class program, which is what we've been doing everything in, and previously I've said just ignore this class program. Well, today we'll start exploring a bit more. You won't understand it fully today because we're not going to look at staticism today, but you'll understand a little bit more why we've done everything in a class. But anyway, we can create a class anywhere, just in the same format that we've done here. But generally we stick to one class per file in C#. So if on the side you should have a window that says Solution Explorer, right click anywhere and click Add and then New Item. It's going to create a C# class, so you can call it anything. I'm going to create a class of type person, so I'll say person, and you'll see it's given us all sorts. Let's just get rid of all of that. But now, let's actually create a class. So to create a class, first you type class, and then the name of the class, generally with an uppercase character. So I'll just type person. And if you wanted it to be multiple lines long, you'd just capitalise the start of every word. But we're just going to go class person, and then a pair of curly brackets. We've seen this loads of times. Now, we can start giving a person some different values that are stored inside our person. So we can say a string name, or actually person name. Then we could have an int age, and let's just go with what we said earlier, string favourite food. So we've just created variables as we always would do inside anywhere. But now we can actually create a person. So inside our main function, we can say person equals, and we set it to new person, and I'll describe what that is about in a second. But now, on the next line, we can start actually setting some values for this person. So once we've created an object of type person, it automatically creates an object that has a string of person name, age and favourite food. But so far we just haven't set any of these. So if we wanted to actually set the name of this person to something, all you do is type person, where you've just below you've created it. So you type the name of your variable. So this doesn't have to be person, it could be, I don't know, woman, or you can name your variable anything, of course. And then you type dot, and when you type dot, you get all the different values that are stored inside the object. So we've got 3 different values stored inside there: name, age and favourite food. And you just type the name of it. So you can say woman, because that's what we've named it, woman dot person name, and set it equal to something. So woman dot person name is equal to, I don't know, Janice. And then, as always, because it's an instruction, end the line with a semicolon. Now, it's given us an error. If you look at it, it says it's inaccessible due to its protection level. And basically, this is it can be seen as a bit of a strange thing, but it is actually very, very important, that in a class, none of these things, none of our variables or little values inside of our class are accessible outside of the class unless we say before them public. As soon as we write public string person name, then you'll see the error goes away and we're allowed to access it. So basically, anything that doesn't say public before it inside a different class cannot be accessed inside another class. So if we want to sort of say, any class can get the name of our person and set it or get it, then we have to say public. So I'm going to say all of these are public. So public int age and public string favourite food. Now, if you don't say public, then by default they are private. So I would always specify private. You'll see now I've done that. It's going to give me an error in a second because it's inaccessible. But so even if you don't write private, it's automatically private. But I would always specify just so that it's really clear. So now we can set all these different qualities. So woman dot age equals, saying 10, but that would really be a woman probably. Let's say 30. And woman dot, what else could we say, favourite food? And there's a string, so we've got speak maps. And let's say spaghetti. Don't really know why spaghetti. I feel like that's not really anyone's favourite food, but we'll go with it. If you actually said console.writeLine, woman, and dot to get a property from it, and we're going to get the person name. So if you now did this, it should output Janice because we've set this woman's person name to Janice. So if you do that, there you are, it puts Janice. And now if we create another person, I'm going to say person man equals new person. And then man dot person name equals Bob. And you don't have to set everything, so this man, we don't know his age and we don't know his favourite food at this point, but that's fine. And now if we said console.writeLine man dot person name, then we should get 2 statements. First, it's going to get the woman's person name, which is Janice, and then the man's, which is Bob. There you are, Janice and Bob. Right, so that's basically the core of classes. There is just one final thing that I want to show you today, or maybe 2 final things, but the main one is this when we're creating a class, usually when we create an int or something, we just say int whatever, and that's it. But with these classes, we've actually had to say equals new person, almost like it's a little function. So what this is actually called is a constructor. Now, at the minute, our constructor does nothing, but we can actually create a constructor in a class to show you a bit more. So I'm going to make our constructor public, so that it's accessible to this. And to create a constructor, you literally just type the name of the class, followed by a pair of brackets, almost a bit like a function, but a special one. And these brackets show that we can take anything in. So I'm going to say public person, and that's going to take in as an argument a name and an age, int age, just like a function arguments. And now we can say inside our person constructor, person name, we set this instead of person age there, just so that it's different to this. Then you could do person age, just age of our person equals this passed in person age. So basically what a constructor does is it's called as soon as we create it, and now you're seeing it's red line because it's saying, well, actually our constructor takes in 2 arguments. So now instead of having to write all this out, we can literally just say Janice for the first argument, which is the name, which is going to get set to the person name, and 30, which is the person age, which is going to be set to the person's age. So now there's no point in setting these because we've just set them there. And so now, with Bob again, we can say Bob, and maybe he's that amount age, and we no longer have to say that. But now you'll see it should still work, that we should still get Janice and Bob, but now it's just a little bit of an easier way to set those variables through a constructor. And the final thing I'll show you is that a class can have anything in it. So in this class we've got a function, and we literally can in this class as well. So we'll say public, and remember the next thing is what type this function is going to return. I'm just going to say, let's say int actually, and maybe we're going to create our function called age in 10 years. This is going to be a function. So basically this could just say return age plus 10. So just to show you this in action, if I just said console.writeLine man.age in 10 years and call that function, then it's going to get the man. So the man has a property called age. So when calling that, it's going to get this man's age on this object and add 10 to it. So you'll see it's 66, and we say it's a 56. So that makes complete sense. So that is all I want to show you today for classes. It is a bit more of a complicated topic, and everyone's going to explain classes slightly differently, and my explanation probably wasn't perfect. So maybe it's a topic where you want to watch several videos before you fully understand it. But I'm going to set you some homework this time. I'm going to tell you to create a class of your own, and it could be anything. It could be a class called car that stores the colour of the car and the name of the car, the brand, all of that. It could be a class called food that stores, it could be like almost in a game where you have a class called food and it says how much health points it's going to restore. But I just want you to create something that's a class, and you can add all your different values to it and different functions to it, but just a class that is able to store a bit of complex data. So that is my homework for you this week. But for now, I'll see you before next next time I think we're going to get on to probably staticism, so continuing with classes. So goodbye.